Wait till some people get in here. Try this again. If you can hear me, put a thumbs up in the chat. Try this again. Gotta love technology, man. Gotta love technology. All right, let me. Um, all right, sweet, sweet, sweet. All right. Sorry about the technical difficulties. I'm doing this for the first time on YouTube, so of course, if you don't have your if you don't have your audio set up the way that it needs to be set up, people are not going to be able to hear you. So now I know going forward. But all right, good evening, everyone. My name is Coach Vic. I have been a life coach since the early spring, since around March, a little bit before my birthday. Uh, this line of work I've really been doing for a long time, just impromptu, just over the years, having conversations with my family, with my friends, really about love and relationships. Um, for me, love is the centerpiece around everything that good that happens in our lives. And I like to think that, love is the root of the goodness, that we produce and give to this world. So without it, of course, uh, we have essentially nothing, and that stems from, love from our family, love from our friends, and then of course, love from our significant other, which is ultimately, uh, in my opinion, what the ultimate goal should be for everyone is to find the love of our life. And the way in which we go about doing that is going to be different from person to person. um, each person's journey to jump on the broom is going to look different. It's for some it's going to take longer than others. It's not absolute. Some folks, they're lucky enough to find the love of their life right out of high school. Some college, some longer than that. But the key is, no matter how long it takes you to get to that point, is to first be able to identify or even tell yourself, hey, this is the space that I want to be in. uh, Once I get there, I want to graduate college, I want to do this, I want to do that, I want to get married. And so that's going to uh, evolve into what I'm going to discuss tonight, which is the relationship essentials. Now, I'm not going to cover every piece of it tonight because this is going to build on and evolve into later conversations that I'll have on other streams. But the other day, last week actually, just sitting around thinking, I came up with this four-letter acronym that I believe is crucial and essential to uh, helping us find the person that's for us. So if you have pen, if you have paper, I don't know who use pencils anymore, but if you if you have pencils, break that stuff out. And as I go along, what I'm going to discuss tonight and moving forward, these are just some of the tools and the tricks of the trade that I believe will best not only serve you, but of course serve others as well as I build on these conversations moving forward. So the very first thing, in my professional opinion, that is needed not only to put ourselves in a position to find the love of our life, but to also put ourselves in a position to where this person wants us just as much as we want them, is your mind. Now, when we think of our mind, when we think of our brain, we think of our academic capabilities. We think of our 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 ability to score higher on exams. But in the dating sense, your mind is the first thing that you have to have in order. Like I discussed a little while ago, you have to first tell yourself, hey, I want to be in this space today. I want to date, and then eventually I would like to get married from dating a specific person. You first have to be able to tell yourself that that's where you want to ultimately be first. Because, of course, if you don't tell yourself you want to be in that space, then everything else that comes after that doesn't matter because you haven't uh, put yourself in a position to emotionally and mentally want to seek out somebody. So you first have to be able to tell yourself that this is a priority for me and I ultimately want to be in that space. So let me begin to do the little things to prepare myself to allow this person to come into my life. Because we've all heard the term, we make things uh uh we make time for the things that's important to us, and that's very, very true. And we spend so much time focusing on our jobs, school, family, friends, distractions. We have so much access to everything nowadays that it's difficult to maintain our focus, and it's normal. It's That's why it's important to have a village. But uh, you first have to tell yourself that I want to be in this space to begin with, um, because that's where it starts first, is in your mind. If your mind is not in it, you can have the best job, you can have the best education, you can have whatever it is you think you have for this person. But if your mind is not in it, it doesn't matter what you have. All right. So when you when you allow yourself to say, all right, man, I think I'm ready to date, then what you will have to also do from there is ask yourself, okay, do I have the time to date this person? And of course, as adults, we all are busy. We all should be busy with different things that we have going on that's important to us, that is a priority within our life. And so if we have the time to fit a specific person in our life, Now we are giving ourselves a better chance to provide this person the type of time, attention, and just overall quality that they're looking for within us, because we have our affairs in order to the point where we're able to juggle between the two. We're able to juggle dating them. We're able to juggle being in a relationship with them ultimately. We're able to juggle our job, school. If we have little ones, if we have kids, we're able to juggle that. So that's another process that we have to take ourselves through within ourselves, to ask ourselves, hey, do I have the time for this person? Ultimately, if you do have the time for this person, then okay, you can uh, uh, move closer towards being able to uh, identify the type of person that you ultimately want to date from there. So everything begins with your mind first. You must have the time. You must have the space, and what I mean space, you must have the emotional capacity to date this person. We've all seen it across our families, friends, what have you. A lot of us, at various points in our life, date people when we are not exactly where we should be within ourselves. And so, what I mean by that is, throughout life, traumatic things are going to happen to us. We're going to see certain things. We're going to hear certain things. You know, as we live longer, trauma will develop. And that's just a byproduct of just living on this earth. Trauma will develop. We're going to take losses. We're going to lose people close to us. We're going to have setbacks. We're going to have failures, but that's normal. That's a part of the journey. And so as we have these things occur to us, we have to be aware of the effect that it has on us. And this is where we have to lean on those that are close to us to help keep us on that straight and narrow path, because most of us get so caught up in our own little bubble in terms of the things that we have going on, that when we go through things or when we experience things, excuse me, at least speaking for the Black community, we like to suppress our pain, suppress it in a way in which it's not healthy. So, for example, uh, we like to suppress our pain with things that are not good for us, like alcohol, drugs, cigarettes, uh, gambling, vices such as uh, just like spending unnecessary money on things that we really don't need, but we do it because it suppresses how we feel. So, for example, like for myself, at one point in time, like I used to spend a whole lot of money on cologne. I like to smell good, but there's a time and place for everything in terms of uh, how you should spend your money. But some of us spend our money irresponsibly because it's a temporary high that we feel when we swipe that credit card, because it makes us feel better in that moment of whatever it is we're going through. And so uh, it's very, very important that we are consciously aware of our mental health, because if we're not aware of our mental health and the things that we've experienced, even if we are prepared, so to say, or we want to bring someone into our life, if we're not as whole as we can be, if we're not quote unquote put together as much as we can be in terms of our mental health, it doesn't matter what we want. from this person, we are going to find ourselves running them off. We're gonna find ourselves bleeding onto this person, dumping our trauma onto this person because we don't know how to regulate our emotions. So if we are able to regulate our emotions in a responsible manner, know what our weaknesses are, know what our shortcomings are in terms of the things that we are actively working on, the things that we are actively aware of that is a weakness, then we'll be able to better self-regulate ourselves and eventually communicate that stuff to them to allow them the choice and the matter to decide, man, okay, can I deal with this from this person? Can I deal with that from this person? And ultimately, that's going to help you and them uh, establish a better rapport, establish better uh, communication, which is what I'll discuss in a later video. Just establish uh, overall a better chemistry together, so that way you know how to move the needle forward and where you want to go ultimately, which is hopefully jumping the broom. But if your mind is, once again, if your mind is not in it properly, it doesn't matter what you want. You first have to be able to tell yourself and identify within yourself, yes, I got the time. Yes, I have the mental and emotional space for this person. Yes, I can juggle everything that I have going on in this person and not skip a beat. If you don't identify those things within yourself first before you even decide to go out to a bar or go out to a concert or go out to a speakeasy event or go out to somewhere in public where you're going to be seen potentially by this person. If you don't ask yourself these questions first before getting in your car, turning on your car, putting on your seatbelt, I hope, and driving off to wherever you want to go to potentially meet this person, it doesn't matter what you have, and it doesn't matter what you desire. You have to first have your mind in it. If your mind is not in it, it's not going to matter at the end of the day. So this video is not going to be too long, but if you're tapped in right now, uh, please feel free to ask any sort of questions you want along those lines of talking about mindset right now. As I progress forward with these streams and these videos, the conversations are going to get more and more in depth. They're going to expand. But the thing that I ultimately want to have when I do these videos is a two-way conversation. I can talk for a long period of time. Those of you who know me know that. But I take a lot of pride in bringing everyone into these conversations because they're important. They are essential, and the only way we're going to change the world we live in at our level is by first having these conversations first amongst each other, taking these conversations back to our family, to our friends, and expanding on it from there. So, while I appreciate those of you tuning in and also writing these notes down, also feel free to put things in the chat and whatnot, and uh, help me help you expand on the conversation. So, if you have anything that you want to put in the chat, feel free. But tonight's conversation is centered around mindset. So whatever you have on that, I'm all ears. So just let me know how you are feeling about mindset. And of course, if there's nothing that you all have on mindset to add on to, or that you want to expand on, then I'll cut the stream short, and we'll reconvene another time. I don't want this to go too long, but whatever you all have on mindset, I'm all ears. All right, don't be shy, and don't be shy. All right, Kianta, I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. What tips would you give to someone that is struggling with a bad routine? Um, well, what I would say about that is break it like break it all the way down to the very, very uh, basic part of what your routine entails. So, for example, um, I don't know if you have things in your routine that you want to readjust or just reevaluate as a whole. But what I guess the best way I can say this is whatever is a necessity, or whatever is not a necessity for you in your routine, then prioritize it that way. Um, there are certain things that we put into our routine that we necessarily don't have to have, uh, and there's varying reasons as to why that is. But each thing has its own season, and so um, being able to identify what you want to really attack in whatever season you're in, and chronologically put it into a specific kind of order that way, I would say will be the best possible way. But trying to do too much at once can really make things overwhelming and stressful for you. So I would just say, uh, you know, for you or anybody else with a bad routine, just ask yourself what's essential, what's necessary, that you have to have, and then whatever else isn't necessary, ask yourself, will it evolve into something being necessary, or will it just be something that uh, you do here and there as a part of your routine that you don't necessarily have to have all the time, but it's something that you incorporate here and there. I mean, that's the best way I can put that, because it's not absolute. It's not gonna be the same for everyone, of course. So yeah, that's a long-winded way of saying, just identify to yourself what you need and what you don't need in your routine. But that was not the topic of conversation for tonight. The topic of conversation tonight was centered around mindset. in terms of dating. So everything that I discussed, uh, that's what we're talking about tonight. For those who have joined late, uh, tonight's conversation that I was having was centered around mindset, having the right mindset to date, having the right mindset to be in a relationship. And you have to put yourself through the mental gauntlet of asking yourself these difficult, hard questions, because if you don't do that, then you're going to run the risk of failing. You're going to run the risk of being in and out of different situationships, being in and out of different relationships. You have to ask yourself, do I have the time? Do I have the space? Am I able to show up as my authentic self? Notice I didn't say perfect, because none of us is perfect. We have to be able to accept and realize that regardless of where we are in our life, where we are in our journey, none of us is a finished product. So if none of us is a finished product, then we must be comfortable knowing that, but then we also must be comfortable knowing that not only are we not going to have everything that someone is looking for, but they're not going to have everything that we're looking for. And so we have to realize that we have to be able to process that within ourselves first before we can jump out there and tell ourselves, all right, I'm ready to date. I'm ready to be in a relationship. But these conversations, we have to have these conversations with ourselves a lot, or with our village, to identify, all right, man, do I have the time for this? Do I have the space for this? Because I've been struggling with my anxiety, or I've been struggling with my depression, or I've been taking this loss and that loss, and I had this going on with the family, and I'm financially helping this and that family member out for whatever specific reason. We have to put ourselves under a microscope and really ask ourselves, do I have the time? Do I have the space? Instead of showing up in these different situations, relationships, not our complete self, not our whole self. So yeah, that's what I basically discussed this evening, and I just want you all's thoughts on mindset specifically. Stay on topic. And of course, if you all don't have anything to add, then I'm going to cut the stream off here pretty soon, and we'll reconvene another day. But just want to get you all's thoughts on that. This is a two-way conversation. Of course, I do most of the talking, but you all are more than welcome to add your input as I talk. Um, and of course, after I finish talking. But yeah, this is a two-way conversation that we'll be having moving forward. So please feel free to provide your perspective and your opinion on the matter. Let's not all speak at once. And give y'all a few seconds. right. Well, if there's nothing else that you all want to add to mindset for tonight, I'm going to cut the stream short, but keep your eyes out for um, other streams coming up. Um, the next the next stream, I'll probably do another one in a couple days, but um, keep your eyes open for the notification for the upcoming streams. And of course, any streams that you want me or any specific topics you want me to cover for these streams, let me know, and I'll put those topics in the vault, and we'll bring those up accordingly. But share the page to your friends, to your families. Have them jumping on these conversations. Again, this is a two-way conversation, and a lot of these conversations, most of these conversations that I will be having with you all on the stream, it will be a two-way conversation. Of course, I'll be doing my shorts, I'll be doing my pre-recorded videos that will go up, but I want to try to do these streams as much as possible to get that instant participation and feedback from you all. So that way we're able to cover a lot of significant ground and break bread that way. Right there from the stream. So with that being said, I'm going to hop off of here for the night. Thank you all for tuning in to the first stream. This is Coach Vic. I'll see y'all in a bit. Y'all be safe. Have an enjoyable, blessed evening, and I'll talk to y'all soon. Thank y'all.